I'm Griffin. We're here in the Solvent Action offices today with snowball artist Paul Basic. He's going to sit here for a little while and answer questions as you guys tweet them in. So tweet at Paul Basic and we'll pull it up here and we'll get your questions answered. So be here for about a half hour or so. So let's start it. The first one we have is from the Dankles. They said, last fall we saw the release of Transient Horizons, and they want to know, have you been cooking up anything new for 2014?
Yeah, I have a couple remixes that I've finished up that are coming out soon. I think the most recent one is there's a David Starfire remix. I think he's putting out in a couple weeks. I have a remix for Michael Minert that he's going to be putting out, I think maybe in a month or so. And then there's another remix with an artist, Leia that I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but it's done.
Awesome.
And then trying to work on Half Color stuff with Michael Minert. That's our collaborative project, so we're trying to get that going. And then I have ideas for solo work to get back into, so that's what's on my plate. It'll probably take a little while to get all that.
You guys going to try and do something more full length with Half Color, or?
Yeah, well, we have tons and tons and tons of old tracks that most of them haven't seen the light of day, and they're, we like them and we want to get them out there, but they're so dated that we want to get something new out to kind of recontextualize the old stuff. So we're probably just going to try to get an EP out because we're both so busy and traveling, and it's hard to find time to get it done. So hopefully for like 4 or 5 tracks to get out, and then maybe put out all the old stuff. So it'll be an avalanche after.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we just keep talking about the project, but haven't gotten to it yet. But hopefully in the next couple weeks.
Cool. Awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So next one, we'll go with also from the Dankles. Have you ever thought about bringing in, MCs into your mix? Whether just for in the studio or in a live setting, maybe both.
I'm definitely open to that. I haven't done it yet. As far as when I make my music, it's I'm really into instrumental music. I always have been. That's kind of how I personally work with music and get my sound out there. But then I've always, when I listen back to it, a lot of times I can hear, oh, this could be good with a vocalist or an MC or something. But I feel pretty particular about that sound. It's got to be the right person and the right vibe. So if the right person came along, I would definitely want to do that.
Absolutely. Awesome. We got one from one of your fans here, Shane Dalk. He wants to know, how'd you start your music career and sort of what influenced you to start making music?
Drums were the first thing I got into as a kid. I just was like, when I was really young, marching bands, listening to the drum corps style drums really, really got me into it. And then I started playing the drums, and then I was in band, in a band, Pretty Lights and Michael Minert way back in the day. Mm-hmm. So that's really where I started. And then it's progressed into starting to produce, and it was just how it started.
Yeah, and sort of what was the influence to?
Yeah, drums was really the
first.
The first. I always love music. Everybody loves music, but for some reason, the drums was something. Oh, I want to play the drums. I want to do that. And then that led to bands, which led to learning other aspects of music, which led to now producing kind of full songs. So that was what started it all, I guess.
Absolutely. So another one from a fan. One second while it pulls up.
Okay.
So this stopped working, Luke. Never easy on the first try. All right, so from Adam J. Cochran, another fan of yours, he wants to know, can you read music personally? And if so, do you feel it's important to be able to read music?
I can barely read music. I've studied it a few times. Drum music, I've learned to read a little better, but it's been a really, really long time. But it's not ever something I really utilize that much, just when I was learning drums or different instruments. If you knew how to do it and could read music and learn other songs, I feel like you could probably learn a lot from that. I personally haven't gone down too deep in that path, especially now with, what I would say is related to that is studying music theory definitely helped me. I know how a lot of, like music works and chords and keys and stuff like that. Not to a deep extent, but to a degree that it is really beneficial. So not necessarily reading music, but knowing the ins and outs and how to compose it definitely helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's see. What else we got coming in? So, the Snowball Music Festival wants to know who else you're excited to see at Snowball this year.
That's a good one.
Plan on sticking around and watching the show.
Busta Rhymes, I got to see. I've never seen him before. He obviously is a great musician, great MC. Loomis is someone I've actually wanted to see for a long time. Kind of been a fan of his for a while, so it'd be cool to see him. What else is on there? It'd be fun to just do the PLM party, see everybody else's set, see Derek's set. I'm curious to see the Pretty Light set because and I don't really know all the details. I know he's doing stuff with different instruments and kind of trying a different approach. So I'll be curious to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm drawing blanks on the whole list. Those are the ones that stood out to me.
Absolutely. So related to that, though, we actually want to know. There's all this excitement going around about the PLM party at Snowball this year. Can you give us a little hint about what that'd be like, for you personally, as well as on stage?
Well, actually, to be honest, we're kind of sorting that out right now. We've all tossed out ideas, and we all have kind of brainstorming different possibilities. So I don't know. Maybe I'm giving too much away to say it's not all finalized and whatever. Yeah. But it's a lot of people to bring together, and there's a lot of possible ways to approach it. So some stuff is more decided, and some stuff is still being decided, I guess.
Okay.
So that's about as detailed as I can get.
Cool. Yeah, no, absolutely. Are you sort of personally really excited to be on stage with these guys you've played a lot with in the past? Is that something?
Absolutely. It's we've done the showcases in different settings and different capacities over the years, and it's always a great. Let alone doing our individual sets, but when we can come together to do stuff, or when people have different collabs that they do together, I just think it's like showcasing all of our different sounds around the one kind of common sound that we work around. Plus, it's all friends, and then I think it's cool for the fans who like different artists to see everybody at once, or see some of the collab stuff we do, or some of the new material we got going.
Absolutely.
Always fun for that.
Very cool. All right.
Disembodied arm.
Here we go.
Don't mind me.
Our personal interviewer here at Souls in Action, he has a couple questions for you as well. He wants to know what was it like growing up with the Pretty Lights music crew, and then when did you guys sort of start making music together?
Let's see. I met Michael Menner first. We went to school together, like our freshman year of high school. So I first met him, and it was the end of that year that I met Derek, because they were in a band together. And so they had already started the band, and then I joined on as a drummer after a summer. We kind of like jammed together, and then I took over as a drummer. Mm-hmm. So that was, I didn't really know them before being in the band. That's how I met Derek for sure. And it was just, we were together for about 4 years. Mike started producing pretty early on, and then Derek got into it, and then I did. And then kind of once we kind of went different directions, we all took on solo production, and that came back together for the label all these years later. Which we never, we always dreamt of doing music together and making it far, but it's not something we ended up doing it in solo capacities, but still ended up under someone umbrella, so it's great.
Okay, cool. So Britt Chester wants to know who would win an arm wrestling match, in your opinion, Chris Carnes or Michael Menner?
Menner, he's so ferocious. He might accidentally cheat, so it'd be on whoever's judging it to figure that out. But
fair enough.
I think Mike would find a way ferociously to win.
Fair enough. All right, friends over at EDM.com want to know what do you think are the coolest emerging trends in dance music right now? What's sort of this? working for
It's a
you?
good experience, yeah, or a good question. Man, that's hard to say because it's easy to identify styles and sounds once everyone has caught on and identified it and labeled it and pointed fingers at it. But like that, when there's that new kind of stuff coming over the horizon line that like you can tell is working with people and you can tell has a lot of musical power, but there isn't all those labels and all that those descriptions for it. I don't know how I can explain it right now. I really there aren't words. Yeah, which is I don't know. Exciting times.
Okay.
Anything new? Anything combining different genres? Anything that's trying to emulate or copy something just verbatim more or less isn't going to go very far. I think if you're having stylistic influences but are trying to do something new with them, that's usually where the cool's going to come. And I think a lot of that comes from either combining genres or just, I don't know, being innovative.
Yeah.
And I've heard some of that out there. I just can't. There's not a sentence to describe it, I don't think.
For sure. So what were some of the first electronic artists that you listened to growing up?
Let's see. I got into about 10 years ago. Really wasn't into electronic for a while until I went to school to study audio production, and I met a friend who was really into it and exposed me to a lot. And I remember it took a few months for me to kind of get my ear into that sound, but once I did, I was getting a lot out of it. And Boards of Canada was the one that I remember being kind of thrown off by, and then ended up really, really loving within a few months. And then Aphex Twin kind of followed that. I mean, I was into some of his stuff, but then really got to appreciate his incredible production abilities. The Prefuse 73 is what I want to say, because he was the first that really came from as a hip hop producer, and then started incorporating electronic elements. And some of his earlier work was like some of the best fusing of those genres for me, and I still inspired by that.
All right. Very cool. All right. So, I guess this is a pretty broad question still. What was your favorite venue that you've played so far?
Yes, that a lot. It's always Red Rocks.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat, especially being from Colorado, having gone to the shows there. The venue itself is incredible. Having played with my friends, so many reasons. That's definitely what to say. I hate always saying the same one, but it's hard to beat. I gotta keep it up there, I guess.
It's gotta. It is hard to beat.
It is. Yeah.
So you're saying it's hard to put a label on sort of some of your favorite music that's coming out right now. Do you have any producers that sort of fit the bill where a label might not? Or
for new music?
Yeah.
Man, that is hard. I listen so much to stuff I've already listened to. Washed Out. I've been listening to a lot of his new record.
Yeah.
Really, really cool vibes. Good producer. I don't know a lot about how he makes his music, but I know he uses a lot of crazy instruments and gets really interesting sounds and timbres, and his feel is really good. A lot of that chill wave stuff I kind of like. Man, what have I been listening to recently? It's the new Boards of Canada I listen to, but that's not any new artists.
Okay.
Tegan, can you throw one at me? Nope.
Be on the spot.
Okay.
All right.
I thought I forgot. I can't. I don't want to leave anybody out. I'm gonna think of it as soon as I leave. Clams Casino. That's definitely someone I've gotten really, really into. Who's a newer introduction to my musical sphere. So it's killer.
Absolutely. So Poof on Twitter wants to know what hypes you up for a big show. What do you do sort of to get ready for it?
To get ready, if I have new music, I'm usually I'm always working on something new, and if I can, I'm always usually trying to wrap that up for whatever my next show is, and that usually hypes me up most if it's playing something I haven't played before, or debuting any sort of remix collaboration new track that hypes me up the most. But then, it's not that I don't think I do anything to hype myself up specifically. Just if there's a big crowd, if there's it's a good bill, stuff like that, that gets me excited. Or once I'm out there, if I can tell the crowd's kind of feeling it or open to it, that helps pump things up for sure.
Cool. So do you think that sort of emerging Colorado music scene right now has changed sort of the way your musical career has gone, or you know, how's that been? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, being part of the Pretty Lights crew, that's obviously a huge Colorado mainstay that I came up in, and just being friends with Derek and being included in that label and stuff alone has been a big exposure and everything. I don't know that I can identify a Colorado sound. I mean, maybe I probably can. And I guess I fit in there too. I definitely draw inspiration, I think, of just from the other people making music here, and definitely their sounds and styles. Personally, I have some new ideas that I want to do just to push my own sound, and kind of maybe hopefully it'll fit in Colorado stuff.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Not about fitting, it's about progressing, right?
Yeah.
So, next one. So just, do you have any advice that you'd give to aspiring producers sort of looking in today, and what sort of helps you move along?
You definitely have to commit. You have to. Well, the first thing you have to tell yourself, which I remember kind of the answer to myself, was if I was doing it as a hobby or really, really pursuing it as a potential career. You don't know if you're going to make it as a career, but I think you have to decide if that's what you want to do. Then you need to really commit and devote a lot of time to learning, experimenting, making stuff, and like I was saying before, I definitely, it's definitely good to have influences and to work with them and maybe emulate their sounds or try to do it from a learning point. But it's all about trying to do something new, or not like you try to do something new, but straight mimicry or just trying to do something other people are doing right now isn't going to get you that far.
Yeah.
Using it as a learning tool is great to then bring it into your own sound, whatever that is. But that's what I would say is take it seriously, commit yourself, and work towards bringing something new to the scene that isn't already being said just by someone else.
Absolutely. So just a reminder to everybody watching right now, keep sending your tweets in. We'll get right to your questions as soon as they come in. We had a couple more from the Dankles, but I don't have them up. Is the body going? So another big one from the Dankles is, you've obviously been working a lot with the Pretty Lights crew for a long time. Is there anyone in particular that you would like to, sit down and do a collab with?
Outside of that?
Yeah.
Outside of them? For sure. Dudes like Odd Nose, Dom, and Chell were guys I was really into back in the day. They're on the label Anacon. They make kind of lo-fi instrumental hip hop beats. They're not big on the scene, or people don't necessarily know who they are, but there's people I've looked up to for a while and would love to collab with. Lauren from the Brain Feeder label, I've really liked his sound and sound design, and to see like kind of a similarity between our sounds, even though it's not really intentional. I've always thought maybe a collab with him would be cool. I don't know. Obviously, you'd be into that, but I think that could be cool.
Absolutely. So we got a couple new ones. More about the PL label.
Yeah.
Repeats. So the Dankles wants to know, and I'm curious too. This is sort of an interesting format for sit down Q&A.
Right.
It's a little out of the norm. Do you prefer things like this that are a little bit more loose, or just
sure? I mean, I haven't done a lot of live Q&A interviews like this. It's great, obviously, direct interaction with the fans. That, like to answer their questions specifically.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my first go at it, really.
Yeah.
But it's good. Yeah.
Ours,
I mean, it gives you more variety for questions maybe than one person with their questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is. Here we go. So Tegan Wolf says, I know you used to make some ambient music. Do you have any plans to revisit that sort of sound and maybe do an EP of that? Or
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I used to make a lot of soundscape. I mean, maybe noise, some of it, but yeah, ambient. No drums, which is weird for me, being a drummer and being into music strictly through drums. That I went totally opposite. Just really, that was just learning about like sound design and timbres and moods and stuff. And I really, really love that stuff. I listen to it a lot. If anything, right now, I'd like to incorporate more of that approach and those sounds and styles into my current sound, or into beat-based stuff. But yeah, I could definitely see myself put out a few tracks of ambient material. I don't know who'd be into it, but yeah, I could see myself doing that. It's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Any producers out there, experiment with that. It's fun. It's yeah. You can get good results pretty quick, and it's different than your typical production scenario.
So we're caught up on Twitter questions for right now. Keep shooting them at us, and we can get right to them. So are you currently on tour these days, or are you?
No, I just finished a tour with Break Science. We did some New England dates on the East Coast. I do have a few dates with Supervision. We're doing like a mini 3-show kind of tour, 2 Virginia dates. So it's April 17th. Look at this right. April 17th, Leesburg, Virginia. April 18th, Blacksburg, Virginia. And then on the 19th, we're playing in Atlanta for the Sweetwater 420 Festival.
Yeah.
So that's the only little tour, Supervision and I.
All right.
So, other than that, there's just some one-off shows and festivals coming up.
Absolutely.
Super tour stuff.
Absolutely. What do you have on the festival horizon?
Myself, Michael Metter, Supervision. I think Grammatic's on that. Chris on it. Anyway, this weekend in Miami, we're playing like a after party. I think it's what Winter Music Conference is going on there.
Yeah.
And then Snowball next weekend, and what else is coming up? The 420 Fest with Blake. There's an Infrasound Festival in June. That's in Milwaukee. And I don't know if I'm forget. Oh, Coachella. I'm doing the Do Lab stage, Coachella, on April 11th. I think that's the first day. Coachella.
Yeah.
So that'll be big. That'll be fun.
Big.
Yeah. Don't forget that one. Sound's coming up too, a couple weeks away. I think that's it.
So Jeffrey LaShawn wants to know, what was the first CD you ever bought, if you remember?
Whoa. Oh my god, I can tell you it's something really embarrassing. I can't remember what it would be.
Back in the days.
My first cassette tape, I feel like, was, at least in my, well, it's probably some Ninja Turtles Pizza Hut stuff way back. I remember having the first MC Hammer tape. My first vinyl was Michael Jackson's Bad. But CD, that's so tough. God. Yeah. I'll just embarrass myself saying one of my earliest CDs was En Vogue. Red Hot Chili Peppers, though, I wore that CD out too.
All right.
So that we'll get two shout-outs to old, early 90s material.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Poof wants to know, given that you're working with the same influence and creative ideas, what allows them to turn out such different tracks? He's citing Prime Limits versus Cloak and Dagger versus Dark Dream being, a fairly wide smattering of all your different sort of sounds.
Yeah, part of that is intentional. I want to have variety of styles or whatever beats, whatever on my album. Just for variety's sake, because it's fun to produce in those different those different approaches. So sometimes it's if I have some synth part or a sample that I'm starting with, that'll dictate where the song goes. Sometimes I really do have an idea, I want to do this kind of song, and I'll start from scratch with that in mind. A lot of the times it doesn't go the direction that I started off on, but yeah, it's half intentional and half unintentional, because almost every song I start, I have really specific ideas, and then by the end, the song is very, usually quite a bit different from what those early ideas were saying. So
So Cody Jacob wants to know favorite festival story of yours in terms of going around and playing those that have a tendency to get a little bit nutty.
Yeah, I remember. Was it? Yeah, it was Wakarusa, and I didn't even play this festival that year. Was this 2 years ago? Yeah, it must have been Wakarusa 2012. I think Pretty Lights played. Leonard must have been there. I just remember stolen golf carts and taking a fence down somewhere, traversing the place, just having a bunch of crew and roaming the roaming the Wakarusa grounds, causing accidental trouble, and no one bearing witness to any of it.
Excellent. So Britt Chester wants to know, in a parallel universe where music does not exist, God forbid, what would you be doing for a career, do you think? Could you imagine yourself doing?
So we'll say it's an ideal universe where I can do something creative also for a living. I've always liked visual art. That's been something I've always wanted to pursue. I don't know if I'd want a career at that though. I don't know. Visual art world as a career might be weird. I don't know. But you know what? I'll say this, which might be funny. In the last year or so, I've really gotten into stand-up comedy. Not personally, but watching it, and I've noticed some similarities between musicians and stand-up comics in terms of like the lifestyle, working with the crowd, being real direct. Yeah. But I feel like stand-ups have us one-upped because they don't have massive sound systems, they don't have laptops and instruments and all this between them. It's just them, the mic, their word, straight to the audience. I don't know if I can do that, but I found it really an admirable craft that I'm intrigued by, with its parallels to being a traveling musician versus a traveling comedian. I don't know. Rather than working with notes and music and sound and all that, they work with just like straight, raw emotion with the crowd, and I think that's pretty cool.
Awesome. All right. So from Grateful Web, we've got a couple more questions. Getting pretty close to the end, so keep on tweeting them in, guys, and we'll get to them.
Thanks for tweeting them in so far.
Yeah.
Everyone that's done that.
So how do you think technology, as it sort of progresses, will affect your sound going forward? Have there been any things that you wanted to incorporate that you think maybe that you do?
My live show, I always want to improve it. I always feel like it has so much room for improvement. And playing the drums is something I've always thought to do, but it's so difficult with sound and traveling with drums and all that, and setting it up and getting the right people to do sound. So, I'd like to do more live stuff with electronic, with stuff, and I've tried using different controllers, and with the ones that I have doing different things, but I just feel like there is such room for, and there's so many different controllers and all unique and different stuff, but I still feel like there hasn't been one that really provides a great opportunity for electronic performers to really engage the crowd. I don't know what it would be. I don't know. I'm mentally in the studio trying to figure some of that stuff out, but I would like to, it'd be cool to see some new controllers coming out that allow for live performance and so that engage the audience. So I don't know what it would be. But
that actually ties in nicely to this next question, also from Grateful. So there's a lot of sort of controversy about drum machines and whether or not they have soul. As a drummer, what's your sort of take on that, and how do you inject soul into your music?
Actually, I've worked on that quite a bit, because when I was making the transition from being a drummer to producing, what really sold me on that was being able to build my own drum parts and being able to write drum parts that I couldn't actually play, whether they were trying to sound like real drum parts or not. But and now I do that, where I guess I've learned all the subtle ways you can sequence drums or whatever to have them have that same groove and vibe and emotion as like a live drummer, but then also to be able to write drum parts that are outside of my even playing ability, but still have them sound realistic, So I think, if you really want to put the time in and work with that, you can make a sequencer sound just as alive as a band. But
Yeah.
it takes a lot more work,
Takes
and
a lot
it's not going to be on the fly like a band can do,
Yeah.
you know, or have that immediate engagement with the other people. But
Absolutely.
it can be done.
Okay. So one last one, we'll wrap this up. What are your thoughts on Pretty Lights' sort of analog sound transformation, as Cody Jacob puts it here? And do you have any plans for sort of experimenting in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I remember when he first told me the idea for the record, and I was really, really impressed with it and thought it was great. And then to see him see it through to the extent that he did, and I mean, now it's such an ambitious and successful to me project that any producer that I look up to do the same thing, I would have been just as impressed and whatever. So personally, I would love to do something like that. It takes a lot of resources to pull a project like that together. But there is something about the analog quality and tone and sound and timbre. And to me, timbre is just almost the most crucial thing in production. And I personally feel like I could improve a lot on that. And including analog sounds and timbres and instruments is definitely a way to achieve that. And I'd love to do more of that.
Yeah. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up there.
A few more.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Did you already do those?
Yeah, I did most of them.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, that's all. Thanks for tweeting in your questions, guys, and thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Paul.
absolutely.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks,
And,
guys.
We are really excited to see what you guys cook up for us with that P-Line party.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Make sure to
be
come out
there.
to Snowball. Check it out.
Absolutely.